Namaste. So, this gem from Savitri is about what is human life about. So, when child is born, before the birth, parents have set the goal. Then teachers set the goal. Then the child just accepts it, forgets his own goal. So, what is this human life about? Is it about like becoming a doctor, engineer, a rich man, materially very successful? What is happening in this human life? For a long time, for many lives, nothing else is happening except preparation. And this preparation is for the great far off event of the divine disclosure in man. For a long time, it looks something is happening in the sense that all the events, circumstances, like when you ask people to describe their life, there was a very nice movie, Chennai Express. How does it start with? With a photograph of his great grandsire, no? With all the. Some people take great pride. ये हमारे दादाजी थे, पर दादाजी, great grandfather. There is a man sitting out there with, all royal, regal, 40 people all around. ये मेरी बुआ है, ये मेरे चाचा हैं, ये कहाँ है सब? सब अभी आधे तो चले गए ऊपर. तो अभी कोई, they are no more that chacha, tao, all this. So, but we think that that's what life is about. An average person, if you ask what is the goal of life, he says goal of life is to be happy. So nature says, okay, you try it. So he tries. Then suffering comes. He says, God is very cruel. He's a spoil sport. Doesn't allow me even to be happy. Because life is not meant for that. You are misusing its purpose. So what is the purpose? So that's what we find in this passage, the purpose of life. And for a number of lives, this purpose is concealed from us. People are born, they go through life, they die, they come back again. There's a very nice little story about a man, king who wanted to study history. So he asked a great wise person, you please, I want to learn history of the world. He says, okay. After 10 years, he got 10 volumes of books on each, 10 donkeys, each carrying 10 volumes of. He says, what is all this? He says, you asked me history, so this is history. He says, do you realize that 10 years means when I asked you I was 50, now I am 60. How am I going to read all this? He says, okay, I'll make it short. Next time he comes after 5 years with 5 volumes on 5 donkeys. He says, I have condensed it. He says, but you see, now I am 65. One leg has begun to dangle in the grave. Make it shorter. So it goes on till he is 80. He says, can you make it shortest possible? He says, that by now I know how to make it short. So next day he comes. He says, where is the donkey and where is the book? He says, I have it on a piece of paper, the entire history. What is the history? Men were born, they fought, they died. So if you really look at with all this, it will look very absurd. But if you understand the goal, at one place Sri Aurobindo says, men die, men, M-E-N, men die so that man, M-A-N, man may live and God be born. If you look at so much waste takes place in this process. But nature doesn't mind. Nature says, what is there? I've got a nice toy. 10,000 lives. From nature, 10,000 lives means 1 lakh years is nothing. It is like a little cinema at that scale. Pralaya means nothing. Doesn't matter, I'll pulverize everything and put it up together. Nature works like that. Very vast. But that's not what we want. We want, because that passage, long passage means that much suffering, that much pain. So Sri Aurobindo reveals to us what this human life is about. A long, dim preparation is man's life. Long preparation. If you ask somebody, 85 years, some people say, 90 years, what did you learn from life? See, it will be so difficult to summarize it. But some people who make a rapid progress, like Kapali Shastri, someone asked him, you did Tantra Vidya, Mantra Vidya, Vedanta Darshan, Raman Maharshi and all this. So, what did it give you? And he sits and says, it brought me to the feet of the Divine Mother. Now, that is one vision of life. Sri Aurobindo in his poem Krishna, at last I find a meaning of soul's birth into this universe terrible and sweet. I who have felt the hungry heart of earth, aspiring beyond heaven to Krishna's feet. And then he says, as you draw closer and closer, all nature is a wide, inanimate pause, hoping its Lord to clasp, to touch, to clasp, to be. But after all this journey, in Savitri also, when mask of death is slain, when Savitri looks upon the being who had assumed this mask, terrible and formidable, Sri Aurobindo describes, when you look at him, then you say, all suffering was an easy prize. But then, at that point, but this whole passage, a long, dim preparation is man's life, a circle of toil and hope and war and peace, dragged out by life on matter's obscure ground. Why is life? It is trying to plow matter. Ultimately, it is Haldhar, Balaram. What does he do? He must plow the soil. Before Krishna can come and dance upon it, soil must be ready. So he is preparing the soil. In his climb to a peak, no feet have ever trod. And what is happening through all this? Man is climbing towards a peak nobody knows till date. Of course, Sri Aurobindo reveals to us that. His step and all is sky and God. That's the poem next time we'll read. In his climb to a peak no feet have ever trod, he seeks through a penumbra shot with flame. You know what is a penumbra? So there is a aura around a flame. So you look into it. You don't know what the flame is, but you can feel that penumbra, that little kind of obscure light which is all around. So what does this penumbra beautifully, like ideal? When we rise to a little higher level, then we don't speak about life is about satisfying desires, life is about money. That's too crude. Life is about, happiness. When you have a little refined humanity, little higher, not yet spiritual, then it says, no, life is about certain ideals. Justice, nobility, love, beauty, kindness. That's already a sign of a higher humanity. He seeks through a penumbra shot with flame, a veiled reality, half known, ever missed. So it says life is about love. But does it know love? No, it doesn't know love. Life is about wisdom. But does it have wisdom? No, it thinks from book I can get wisdom. So that's how it goes, climbing towards that. It sees the penumbra. The ideal is the penumbra, but behind the ideal there is the truth. But we don't see the truth. We see it as it is reflected in the human mind. That's how we use the word ideal. Justice. Do we understand justice? We don't understand. Divine way of justice is very different from the way we human beings conceive it. A search for something or someone never found. All our life. Oh, if I have this, if I have that, this object, that person, life will be beautiful. The missing piece of the jigsaw puzzle. And in everybody's life, there will be one missing piece which will chase you like anything, and yet, if you go behind the appearances, then you will find it. You can't find it in forms and appearances. So it's like the missing piece of the puzzle. Cult of an ideal never made real here. Religions, ideologies, they start very beautifully. Cult of an ideal. Brotherhood. Beautiful ideal, no? What it becomes of it? Next level. After the man who spoke of brotherhood goes away. So it says, only those who are believing in this God, my God. Then the next generation, those who believe in my God are my brothers, all others are enemies. Next generation, those who believe in my God are my brothers, they who don't believe are enemies, they should be killed or converted. So what happens to that ideal? It becomes just the opposite of what it came to represent. So cult of an ideal never made real here. I keep speaking of this famous joke of George Bernard Shaw. When he was asked about Christian, he said there was only one and he was crucified. Who could say from the cross, Christ from his cross humanized Europe? So that is the cult of an ideal. Cult in the name of an ideal, in the name of a great truth. But the practice is just the very opposite of all that. Even it is used to justify an endless spiral of ascent and fall. See how much humanity, how much Sri Krishna came, Sri Rama, and if you look at the lineage of avatars, only in this yuga, we don't know about the previous Chatur yugas, 6 Chatur yugas before that, of which we don't know. And if we look at just this yuga, look how beautiful it would have been. Sri Krishna coming, dancing with the gopis. And you just imagine that time, no? Everybody would have, this is delight. Now, what has happened to the place where Sri Krishna danced? It's very symbolic. Vrindavan, it is Nidhi one. Where is the Nidhi? It has become bushes, dry bushes, not even beautiful bushes. When you enter, you get a shock. Is it the place where he danced? No, they are the gopis who have become bushes. I found it very symbolic. In this age, that dance of delight has become Thoot ban gaya Vrindavan. It has become just a dry bushes. So what happened to that delight? Mother says Sri Krishna came to give earth, teach earth and men how to be free and live with delight. But man turns that also into a cult and everything. So even Sri Krishna, that comes and goes. Look at, how he would have felt when he saw his own cool people betraying him. To see all of them die. When he goes away, he gave the Gita for the age which is to come. Just as Sri Aurobindo gave us Savitri for the age which is to dawn. Yet, an endless spiral of ascent and fall. So does it mean that ultimately nothing will come out? No, that's where the catch lies. Until at last is reached the giant point. What is that giant point? Through which his glory shines for whom we were made. We wrongly got the script wrong. What was the script? My child, तो हमारे खानदान का है. You belong to you're my child. You will become big doctor when you grow up. So ऐसे ही होता है ना सबका. It happened with me also like that. Mummy, what do you want me to become? You become a doctor. Okay, I'll become a doctor. Okay, you appear for exam, become a doctor. But that's what you're not meant. You're not programmed for that. We are programmed only to belong to God and to do what He bids. But still, that's how we grow up until we reach that giant point. Why it is the giant point? Because all this you can imagine is like a volcano and within it. So it is shimmering. What happens when you reach the mouth? It bursts and it is thrown out. Until at last is reached the giant point through which His glory shines for whom we were made, and we break into the infinity of God. Across our nature's borderline we escape into supernature's arc of living light. So this is the purpose of a human birth. The purpose of human birth is not moksha. If God wanted moksha, He would not have created this terrible, miserable maze of life. There is only one purpose of this creation. It is to manifest the origin. It stands to logic. If it is the divine who is behind creation, what is creation meant to? Manifest the divine. And for a long period, this manifestation goes half-veiled in every creature, even in mountains, rivers, sun, galaxies, stars. You can see a symbol, hint, some quality or the other. Then in animals also you can see some quality of his Anant Guna. Then in human beings. So ultimately it is meant to manifest the divine. There is no other purpose of creation. Not to manifest my papa's ambition. Not to manifest my mama's desires. Not to manifest my society's expectations. None of these things are valid. And yet we go through that. And it becomes all a preparation till we reach that point where we say, enough is enough. And like Vivekananda, Sri Aurobindo, many examples, we burst into the infinity of God. Enough is enough. We don't want this old game. We want the new plane. No more the limited, no more constant birth and death. Infinity is what? No limits, boundlessness, beyond boundlessness. So infinity, no more limited energy, limited people say no limited knowledge. What can I do? I have limited knowledge. What can I do? I have limited love. What can I do? I have limited strength. This is finiteness. But when that finite links to the infinite, then what happens? Infinite knowledge, infinite love, infinite ananda, infinite peace, infinite power. And through that, one day even the form will arrive at its own possibility of the infinite. Namaste.